Every snap is an interview.
After the snap.
What a snap. Hey, keep your mouth shut, 50.
I lead by example.
With Blake and Reid Ferguson, discussing life in, out, and after football.
To be able to leave walking away with a degree and a championship, it couldn't be any better.
Yeah!
Well, you can take this boy out the real South on but you can't take the real South out of my voice. And now here we go again, twist a little bit deeper because I got thick skin.
Reid, it is good to be back. Welcome back.
Thank you.
I have never been more glad to see your beautiful bald head.
I appreciate that.
And we are sort of on the back end of what was an interesting week for the Buffalo Bills team, as well as pretty much the entire football world. Obviously, Damar Hamlin goes down in y'all's game in Cincinnati a little over a week ago, and the entire football world kind of went into this state of shock. I don't have to tell you that. Needless to say, we are glad to hear that Damar has been released from the University of Cincinnati Hospital and has returned to Buffalo.
Yes.
That means good news. I believe they said that he's now at Buffalo General Hospital.
Yeah, I think that's what he posted a series of tweets that he was back in Buffalo, and I think he said Buffalo General, which I think is downtown. So
okay.
He's back and doing some stuff down there.
On the news that I was watching, they were talking about the reporter was outside of Buffalo General and was talking about how they're doing some further testing to see what might have caused this, if there's any sort of lasting effects and things like that. So, but glad to hear that he is doing well. Glad to hear that you all are doing well. It was really cool to see. When we were done with our game on Sunday, got in after the game. We celebrated the playoff berth, but then I was quickly shown the kickoff return that Nyheim Hines took back. What was it, 106 yards?
I think the first one was maybe 99 or something like that.
So right at the goal line.
And then the second one was 101. And yeah, I mean, we'll get into that a little bit later, but
just such a cool moment, man.
Yeah, no doubt. And yeah, glad to be back. Glad to chat with you. I know there are some high tensions on the podcast this week. I can feel it. The vibes are tense.
Competitive.
Right now. Competitive vibes at the moment. So, but yeah, we great news. You know, tough couple days there. We were kind of waiting on any news really.
Yeah.
After we had returned to Buffalo on Tuesday, we kind of had a little bit of an update, and then came back on Wednesday and got a little bit of news. So, and then it was kind of, Thursday. From Thursday on, Thursday is when we got great news that he was doing better. And I think Friday we were able to, I think that's when he FaceTimed into our team meeting, and we were able to chat with him for a few seconds. But
so let me ask you this. So when that kind of when you're waiting on updates, and we don't have to get too into the weeds about it, but when you're waiting on updates like that, and it's the world is kind of watching this entire situation unfold, are y'all getting updates before you're seeing these tweets go out about, hey, he's still in critical condition, but it looks like he's starting to be able to breathe on his own. He opened his eyes last night. Are you guys seeing this on Twitter like the whole world is?
Yeah.
How does that work?
For the most part, yes, but there were I was on a couple text chains with guys that were in contact with either Tabani, one of our trainers that was there with Damar. Damar's dad was also in contact with a few guys on the team that he was kind of feeding some updates. But for the most part, it was, we would get something, and maybe, I don't know, within 30 minutes or an hour, it would be put out by the Bills or put out by a news reporter, and I would see it, or somebody else would send it to me like, man, this is great news.
Yeah.
So it was very, I would say it was almost instant when the news was coming out.
Yeah,
but
I think it's interesting sometimes because people think, oh, you know, you're on the team, you have all this access to the information right at your hand, right at your fingertips. But a lot of times, like you've seen guys before, guys find out that they get traded like via Twitter, like it's not always as
upfront
as people think it is. Sometimes you're finding out the information just like everybody else is when Adam Schefter breaks the news. So I was just curious how that was sort of transferred to you guys, because obviously that's a very delicate situation, which a lot of his medical personal information is sort of at part of the conversation, so they have to be very, very strategic with how that information goes out. So
definitely. So we're hoping, you know, I know he's in Buffalo. I'm not really sure when. I know a few guys have maybe gone down there to visit him, but I know Coach got to visit him. I think I saw something about that he went down there and saw him once he got back, and he was still kind of, you know, still weak of energy and stuff.
Yeah.
So as far as, you know, I can't really speak for next steps. You know, we would all love to see him in the building, but I'm sure we're a little ways from that. But you know, it's a miracle. And I was talking to a few guys this week, a couple guys from Bible study, a couple guys just on the team, and the amount of love and prayer and pure witnessing that has gone on in the last 8 days, I think is a miracle in and of itself.
Man.
And I think there's going to be a lot of people that that hopefully see the light of Jesus in this situation. That's my true feeling. But
that's awesome.
Would love to get into Sunday's games. And first off, just want to say congratulations to you and your team for clinching a playoff berth for the first time in your career. That is, I mean, I can think back to 2017, you know, my first year playing, and when we clinched in Miami, thanks to Andy Dalton and Tyler Boyd, beating the Cincinnati Bengals, beating the Ravens and helping us clinch a playoff spot. I remember how elated we were to break that 19-year drought or whatever it was. So congratulations to you guys. I know that's a huge deal.
Yeah.
And just being able to make the dance is a big deal for anybody.
It was actually really kind of a cool moment, because I remember very vividly seeing the videos and getting updates from you all back in 2017 when you were in Miami and you had just played the Dolphins, and the Cincinnati game wasn't over yet, and y'all were in the locker room.
Yep.
Kyle had his I believe it was his son in there with y'all, and there was
he scored a touchdown that game.
Yeah. They lined him up at fullback, right?
Yeah.
But so y'all were watching the game after, and so we finish up our game against the Jets. We need you all to beat the Patriots in order to punch our ticket to the postseason. So we are in the locker room after the game. They've got the last minute and a half, 2 minutes on the TV as we are sort of all kind of hugging, giving high fives and stuff like that. And at that point in time, y'all's game was over. Like y'all were already.
Yeah, I think
12 points.
I think he threw a pick to Tremaine. I think Tremaine got a pick with like 2:40 left.
Yeah, it was
something like that, and we were able to kneel it out. Yep.
It was under 2 minutes, and y'all already had the ball, and the last kind of play or two that we saw was Josh kneeling it out. So it really wasn't down to the wire. like what happened when y'all were watching the Cincy game, but I was very, it reminded me of the, the story that you had shared of being in Miami, sort of getting ready to punch your ticket. So that was really cool. And then secondly, Jason Sanders, we relied on him
to remember
all day.
Of course.
We relied on the kicking game to score 9 of our 11 total points. There was a safety at the end of the game. They were kind of tossing the ball around and it went out of the end zone. Anyway, big day for him. Game-winning field goal to seal the deal. And lastly, thanks to you guys for punching our ticket. We needed y'all to win. So super, super excited for this week. First playoff appearance. Who other than the Buffalo Bills would we want to be playing? I told you 3 weeks ago, almost 4 weeks ago now?
Yep.
When we played y'all last time, that wasn't going to be the last time we saw you guys this season. And
absolutely,
I'm really glad that it wasn't. So
yep.
Pumped to be coming up there. But first, give us a little update from Orchard Park.
Yeah, so some would say we also relied on the kicking game to help us get the dub this week.
Holy smokes, man.
2 kickoff returns for touchdowns by our guy, 20, Nyheim Hines.
Do we know when the last time that happened, 2 kickoff return touchdowns in a game was? Like, did they say anything about that? Like,
it was, I want to say it was maybe early 2000s. I know they came out and said it. I think it was, I don't know why I want to say it was somebody that played for like the Seahawks or something.
Leon Washington, Seattle versus San Diego Chargers, September 26, 2010.
There you go. So 12 years ago.
He took 2 to the crib. And then before that, it was Josh Cribbs the year before took 2 against KC.
Interesting.
And Ted Ginn that same year. So it happened twice in 2009.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
3 times in 2 years.
Yeah, but hasn't happened since 2010. Big deal.
So the first one is, pure storybook. Just, you absolutely cannot write that any better. It's just like I think Josh in his post-game presser put it really well. It was a spiritual moment.
That's cool.
Like I think the words he said was like, he's never felt that kind of emotion, like take him over in a moment like that. Yeah. And I think he's speaking for a lot of us that were out there, especially us on the sidelines. It's like when he caught it and if you watch the film, like New England closes it, like they close in, and you can freeze frame it, and you're like, there's nowhere to go.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he bounces it outside on like, I don't even know, 20-yard line maybe, and he's gone. Yeah. And it's just like the whole time we saw him running, I was like, this is not happening. Like I couldn't believe it. And I'm like, and they're like, 1-1-1 field goal, PAT, and I'm like,
you're like, holy crap, where's my
how
helmet?
the heck? Well, I was like, I had still had my helmet on from like warm-ups and stuff,
pre-game snaps,
and I couldn't believe it.
That's awesome.
And went out there and drilled Sam in the face with my field goal snap. So he was like, I knew that was coming. So I was like, dude, we were obviously on cloud 9, but good op. We punched the ball in. But yeah, and then the second one, he just runs through a guy, I think number 27, I think tried to like arm tackle him, and he was like, man, I ain't having none of that. So and then took it to the, and I just couldn't believe it.
Am I correct? I believe I saw a video of Josh saying that it was like 3 years and 3 days or something since the last time that
3 years and 3 months, I think it was like October of 2019 was the last kickoff return for a touchdown in which is weird because I don't even remember that. Like I'm gonna have to go look it up right now. I don't even remember because I was telling people on the sideline that was the first time that it had happened since I had been in Buffalo.
Was it Micah Hyde on the?
No.
Was it Micah Hyde on the onside kick return for a touchdown?
Oh, yes.
Against the Dolphins in 2019?
I think it was.
That was 3 years ago.
That was it.
Yep.
No wonder.
Yeah. That wasn't a kickoff. It wasn't like a true kickoff return. It was an onside kick. But
that's why I don't remember.
Still kickoff return.
Okay. So I feel a little bit vindicated. To where I was like, oh, it's real. It's real. I'll give Micah all the credit. Yeah, okay. Props to you for remembering that.
Well, it popped up. I was actually scrolling through the After the Snap Twitter feed today, which I don't normally do, but there are some interesting football accounts that pop up on there from time to time. And one of them was, I think it was actually Jay Spence. Jay Spence from Buffalo Rumblings had tweeted out the video of Micah taking that kick back.
Oh, well, that was it because we've never had a full normal kickoff return for a touchdown since I've been
in your
here.
Whole career.
No.
Wow. Tells you how rare they are.
Isaiah McKenzie had a punt return in 2020, last game of the season against you guys. Sorry.
He like sliced and diced me.
And then I think that was the only punt return for a touchdown that we've had 2 in the preseason over the past couple years, but none in the regular season except for Isaiah McKenzie. So anyway, enough about the kickoff returns, I guess. But or I guess I say not enough about them because I have one more thing. Those 2 kickoff returns. And this is credit to I'm not crediting myself. I'm crediting every other member of the special teams unit in the Buffalo Bills special teams room. Those 2 kickoff returns put us at number 1 on special teams chart for the NFL this season based on DVOA. I will link a explanation to what that is, but it is widely accepted as one of the best analytical data points. Sounding too smart for myself.
Yeah, you sound like you're doing.
It's one of the best analytical.
You're turning the NFL
data graphs,
the NFL into the MLB and war data.
Yeah, so anyway,
congratulations.
Buffalo Bills were number 1 on special teams DVOA. So,
yes, pat on your own back.
Pat on the back for everybody in our room.
Sounds like we got our work cut out for us this week.
Yeah, we do too. So, anyway, we'll get to that in a few minutes.
One thing that I wanted to also mention from this past weekend was actually my most liked tweet I've ever had.
Ever. No kidding.
Currently, it has close to 18,000 likes.
No way.
And
that's a lot.
That's a lot. I've never had anything over like 10K where it like puts a K after your likes. I've never had one of those before. But I'm still getting like responses. Oh, we're at 18K now. Anyway,
2 million views. That's impressive.
It was a tweet. I was sharing the video of Quay Walker and I believe is it Devontae Wyatt?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's Devontae Wyatt. 2 players for the Green Bay Packers who shoved Quay Walker shoves the Detroit Lions trainer when when the Detroit it was the running back from Georgia. What's his name?
Swift.
Yes, DeAndre Swift goes down. Lions trainer is coming out onto the field. Quay Walker shoves the trainer after the trainer's like trying to get to DeAndre Swift. And then after he shoves the trainer, 95 Devontae Wyatt comes up and like chest bumps him, like walks up on him. And I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
I don't know, dude.
And so I wanted to bring that to the attention of our listeners and our viewers, because I don't feel like that. I don't feel like that was talked about enough. I don't feel like that there was enough. I don't know what their fine will be if Devontae Wyatt will even get fined. I'm sure he will. Quay Walker got ejected from the game.
Definitely.
But this is the
fine.
second time that he's been ejected from a game this season. The first time was against the Buffalo Bills.
Was he ejected that game? I'm actually not sure, because I'm really not sure. I can't remember.
Okay. Regardless.
Yes.
Was it a practice squad player?
It was my guy, Zach Davidson, P squad tight end, great dude, minding his own business.
Ejected from the game versus the Buffalo Bills.
Ejected. So twice. Wow. He it was like a tackle on the sideline, and he got up and shoved Zach, and I was on the other end of the field, but I was like, what? There's like, knowing Zach, he wouldn't have said anything to.
It looked like, and I don't know Zach. It looked like Zach was just trying to help him up, or help your own teammate up.
Right. Yeah.
He wasn't like trying to
initiate anything. Yeah. I don't know. It's it was a little odd.
If you're the commissioner and you see this come across your desk, what are you doing?
I mean, personal foul, ejected from the game. I think you get fined for that. So he would have gotten fined already.
Yeah.
And the second time around is always worse than the first time. So I'm sure he's losing a hefty chunk of change this time around.
Is that 40 grand?
Maybe I don't really know. I think I want to say personal fouls are 15, but there's a long list of fines that I really don't care to memorize at the moment.
So we'll go fighting. There's a fine for fighting. That fine on the first offense is $37,000. General unsportsmanlike conduct is 13 grand.
That's what he got called for, I believe,
on the first offense. Second offense for unsportsmanlike conduct is 19, almost 19 grand. So that's on top of the earlier 13 grand.
Yeah. So you lost 30 grand because you wanted to shove a couple guys. Congratulations.
Physical, and I know this it wasn't with an official, but they could bring this into the consideration when they do this. Physical contact with an official, $37,000 on your first offense. Second offense, $75,000.
They don't mess around.
They do not mess around with that.
They do not mess around.
It'll be interesting to see what happens there, if he has any kind of suspension going into the next season for the first game, or what happens there. But absolutely unacceptable behavior, especially a second time around. You've already been ejected once, and then to throw a fit going up the tunnel, like, come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he was upset with himself, but
somebody came to his defense on Twitter. There were like 1,000 replies to that tweet, and like 2 of them were
under yours.
Yeah, 2 of them were like in defense of Quay Walker, and Devontae Wyatt.
I'm going to have to go find that after we get done.
Both of them were talking about how they were Georgia teammates with DeAndre Swift, and how how they were merely checking on their teammate. But to me, the trainer barely even like touches Quay Walker on the chest.
The trainer is going to do more to check on your buddy than you are.
Right, but like
I know, but he was just he's like he touches his shoulder.
Yeah, he's like hey, let me get let me get in there, and like I get it. That's your buddy. You're checking on him, but shoving a trainer is not going to get him help any faster if he actually is injured in a bad way.
Actually going the wrong way.
Yes, that's hurting the case. And somebody was like, what if? And obviously bad timing with Damar having gone down less than a week prior. Somebody was like, what if somebody shoved the trainer when Damar Hamlin was, needing help as fast as possible? What are the consequences there? Like unacceptable behavior. So we will move on from there. We are in to playoff season.
Yes, we are.
Super mega wild card weekend.
Ultra.
Super duper ultra phenomenal wild card weekend. I am pumped.
They cracked me up with that.
I am pumped. Oh, I was already seeing ads on the TV.
Oh, I know.
Earlier.
I know.
Cannot wait. Let's get into a little bit of a playoff preview. We will go through each matchup, just a blurb, a little hot topic, things to think about as we move into this weekend. I believe, is it 2 games?
2 Saturday, 3 Sunday, 1 Monday.
Okay, got it.
Yep.
All right. Up first, let's go.
Up first, Seattle at San Francisco. Battle of division rivals, who had they had some good games this year. The thing I think is most intriguing about this matchup is at quarterback for San Francisco. I don't know if you know, and you may know because you played them during this time, but they started out 3-4,
yep,
and then proceeded to win 10 games in a row.
Most
of those with a backup quarterback or third string quarterback, Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy. And I saw something earlier that the games that he's played in, which is probably 7 or 8 at this point, they're averaging about 30 plus points. And mix that with arguably one of the best defenses in the league. That is, that's a recipe for success, and it clearly was, as they won 10 games to finish the season. But the San Francisco quarterback situation is what I'll be watching out for during that game. Do you have anything?
Yeah, I think to me it's going to be about San Francisco's defense. They have been stout all year. They're the number one ranked defense in the entire league. They're allowing 16.3 points a game. Can Geno Smith go to San Francisco and put up points against the defense? Brock Purdy is going to be what he is, but it's a matter of, can Geno Smith go in there into a hostile environment against a tough defense and play well?
You have now played in that stadium twice. I have yet to play there. Give me a little bit of background on the atmosphere in there.
Yeah, that's actually one of my favorite stadiums that I've played in. Definitely better the second time around with fans, raucous environment, really big sidelines, very nice for specialists.
Very cool.
Look forward to playing there someday. Yeah, it was. It's a cool place to play. Definitely gets loud when the 49ers are rocking and rolling. They're big on their team is big on like energy and jumping around and celebrating when big plays happen. So that place gets jumping with them, and it's hard to play there.
Next up, the night game on Saturday, the Chargers, Los Angeles Chargers are playing in Jacksonville against the Jaguars, the Fighting Heath Farwells. For those that have been listening to the show for a while, he was special teams coordinator here. One of my favorite coaches I've had. So He is now the coordinator in Jacksonville, so I will be cheering for I believe I'll be cheering for Jacksonville. I think you'll probably cheer for Chargers because of your buddy Justin, I would say.
It's the battle of the long-haired quarterbacks, boy.
Battle of the long-haired quarterbacks.
Come on.
I mean, the Jacksonville almost was so you guys were in the hunt going into Sunday. Were you familiar with Jacksonville's like playoff scenarios? Like if they had lost to Tennessee, which they almost did on Saturday night, could they have still made the playoffs as a wild card team?
I don't think so.
Okay, because they would have been 8. They would have been 8 and 9.
Yeah, no, I think
they had to win to get in.
Yeah, I think if we had lost to the Jets and New England had lost to y'all,
and Pittsburgh lost,
and Pittsburgh
New England
lost,
was still in.
New England would go.
Yep.
If Pittsburgh had won, they would have gone. Had both of us lost, so I don't think that there was any way that Jacksonville could have made the playoffs. I think that's the case.
Okay,
but I
so both teams were basically playing to continue their season.
Yeah.
Which is super interesting. But that game was awesome ending to that game with the fumble 6, fumble Ruski 6 to win that game late in the fourth quarter. Jacksonville wins their division for what I believe is the first time since we played them in the playoffs after the 2017 season when they had Blake Bortles. But the only thing I had for the Chargers, and you can kind of speak to this as well, playing a cross-country game, you guys did that back-to-back this year. It's got to be tough going west to east because that body clock you're probably feeling like you're playing a game at a couple hours early, 9 a.m. or 10 a.m., whatever it is.
Yeah.
When it's 1 o'clock out here.
Luckily for them, it's a night game. That's Saturday night, so it's 5:15 LA time, and I think of all of the matchups for this postseason super mega wild card weekend, this to me is the one that's the biggest toss up. It's a 1.5 point betting spread, and both quarterbacks are capable, have weapons. Neither team is running the ball super well, so I think it'll be fun to watch. I don't know I don't know who to pick in this game, but it'll certainly be fun. I'm definitely pulling for my buddy Justin, just because he's a friend, and
sure,
and I'm excited to watch that one for sure.
Next up, Sunday at 1 o'clock is our game, Ferguson Bowl number 7.
Let's go.
Ferguson Bowl number 3 for this year.
We got free Ferguson Bowls.
Free Ferguson Bowls.
Come on.
I didn't really write much more than obviously it's your first playoff appearance.
Yeah.
Once again, congratulations to you and your team, everybody who's making their first playoff appearance. I'm sure you have a handful of guys that have been there prior to, right?
Yeah, and we definitely have more this year than we've had my entire career. This is the most experienced team. We've got a bunch of guys that were in San Francisco before. We've got Tyreek. We've got Teron Armstead, who was in New Orleans for 10 years.
Yep.
Thomas Morstead, who won a Super Bowl in Hard Rock Stadium his rookie year. So a lot of playoff experience, and I think that down the stretch helped keep us focused even in the midst of a pretty rough losing streak. Because the saying goes that once you're in the playoffs, it's
anything can happen.
Gloves are off.
Yep.
Regular season record doesn't matter, and we're rocking and rolling. So I think that just getting to the finish line and finishing, getting in the dance was definitely a big goal as we started to struggle towards the end of the season, and the the veterans who had been there before certainly helped with that.
No doubt. And the only thing I had in mind was for the Buffalo side is it's going to be it looks like it's going to be pretty nice outside. It's going to be like low 30s, pretty low wind, and hopefully some sun. We have not seen the sun in going on 13 days up here. So
do you count that? Or is that
I actually saw – no, I don't count it because I just enjoy it when it comes.
I feel like that's a Twitter – I feel like there's like a Twitter account for that.
I saw it. The Pat Hammer tweeted it out earlier today that today was I guess going into today we had been 12 days without sun. So
got it.
Yeah, looking forward to a couple rays of sunshine here soon. The afternoon game on Sunday, the Giants at the Vikings, which I think will be low key one of the best games of the weekend because
no question.
The Giants, obviously Brian Daboll, first-time head coach, former Bills offensive coordinator, the way he handles his business, those guys are going to be ready to play. They're going to come. They're going to come kind of like the Giants did when they won the Super Bowl. They won both as a wild card team. So I think they're going to use that as encouragement because so as something to feed off of. Also with I lost my train of thought. Also with Minnesota being, I believe, 11-0 in one-score games this year. That is, I've got some buddies that play over there. I can still admit that being 11-0 in one-score games in an NFL season is quite lucky.
That is incredible, and they've had a bunch of game-winning field goals.
Right, and the last time that they played the Giants, they won on a 61-yard game-winning field goal in Minnesota. So the Giants want to prove they belong. I think that will low-key be one of the best games of this super-duper wild card weekend.
Yeah, something that we've watched all season long is Justin Jefferson just running wild on defenses, and I think if the Giants can slow him down and frustrate him early, he's gonna have a rough day, and they will have a shot.
Yeah.
I can't remember who it was. Maybe a week or two ago, had him like pissed off on the sideline. It was Green Bay. Was it Green Bay?
It was Green Bay. It was
Jair Alexander.
Yep.
Alexander.
They were basically bracketing him that whole game, and he just, I think he had one catch for like 8 yards or something. It was a long day, and he didn't even do much this week. Although they got up big on Chicago and kind of rested a bunch of their guys, but he had like 3 catches this week for 40 yards or something. So it's a couple weeks in a row where, and I'm only saying that because I was playing against somebody in the fantasy football championship who had Justin Jefferson. So
got it.
He was not coming up clutch for his fantasy owners during the playoffs, but
it's tough. That is tough. But yeah, that'll be the matchup to watch. Can they basically piss him off enough to the point where he gets so frustrated that he can't get open and be the dynamic playmaker that he is? That's the one to watch.
Yep. The Sunday night game, which I also think is going to be a great game, if Lamar plays, is Baltimore at Cincinnati. They just played. I believe it was in Cincinnati. I think they played in Cincinnati. It was in Cincinnati because they lost earlier in the season in Baltimore on a game-winning field goal. So they literally just played this game to end the season. Cincinnati won by, I think, a couple touchdowns.
11 points.
Yep, 11 points. I think that this
crazy. The spread on that was 11.5. That is a bad beat.
They know.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, Baltimore at Cincinnati Sunday night. I think like I said, the biggest question is if Lamar comes back. And I'm really not sure about that. I know he hasn't. I saw something on TV the other day that said he hadn't practiced and obviously hasn't played in over a month. So he when the playoffs come around, I know they haven't had a ton of success in the playoffs the past couple of years when they've made it with Lamar, but I think their best shot at beating a division opponent in the first round, especially playing away, is going to be having their former MVP quarterback behind center. So, looking forward to watching that one as well. You got anything?
No, I think if Lamar's out, they're going to really have a tough day in an away environment. They just did it. If Lamar plays, I'm expecting special teams to come up big. That will play a factor late in the game. It's a 7-point spread for the Bengals, but I think if Lamar does play, it'll be closer than that.
For sure. And I think one thing I want to be cognizant of, like talking about this the right way, because of the cancellation of our game against Cincinnati, nobody was dealt a loss or a win. It was just it was just a canceled game, and that really, for lack of better words, Baltimore got screwed. And because depending on the outcome of that game, if we had beaten Cincinnati, Baltimore would have had a shot in Week 18, just a few days ago, to take that division title from Cincinnati and host the game this weekend. And unfortunately, they didn't get a chance to do that. So, part of me says they'll be looking to avenge themselves. Go ahead.
So, with it being a no, what do they call it? A no contest or whatever.
Yeah.
With that game just being canceled, did the Bengals just that they won the division because of that?
Correct.
And so going into Week 18, because I saw all the shirts and stuff that they were wearing after their game on Sunday, and I'm assuming they didn't want to give out the shirts after the Bills game like that. I totally get that. I didn't
go beat the Ravens and you get the shirt, the hat and t-shirts. That is what I would assume.
Okay.
Yep. For sure.
Got it.
And then obviously to finish up on Monday night, super duper phenomenal, amazing, fantastico wild card weekend / weekday.
Is this also the first matchup of the season on preseason? Wasn't it Dallas Tampa Bay? It was Dallas and somebody.
Dallas Tampa Bay played the first game last year after Tampa Bay won the Super Bowl. And I think that was an incredible game.
That's what I
don't think they played this year.
That's what I'm thinking.
No,
it was their first. It was their first game. It was Dallas Tampa Bay. Dallas lost 19-3 to Tampa.
Dak was not playing.
Yes, correct.
It was Cooper Rush. I think that's what.
Not correct. Dak
played and got hurt.
Dak was 14 of 29, threw a pick, and had 134 yards passing.
Okay. I want to say he got hurt that game because the Cowboys played Cincy in week 2 and beat them with Cooper Rush.
Yeah,
so
that was the first Sunday night football of the season this year.
Yeah.
In Dallas.
Okay.
I knew I wasn't crazy. I knew it was the first week. It was that was one of the prime matchups, but I knew that y'all were the first game being on that Thursday night against the Rams.
Gotcha.
But I couldn't remember, so I assumed it was the preseason game.
Yeah, good memory.
I remember random things like that. That's useless information.
Sure. Really, the only thing I saw about this matchup was that the Brady has never lost to the Cowboys. I think he's like 7 or 8-0 against the Cowboys. Really? Which is pretty fascinating. Yeah. They've had some pretty good teams over the years.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
So I think they're hosting a home playoff game in Tampa Bay, and I mean, as much as I hate to say it, you can't underestimate what he can do on a football field.
if Dallas plays the way that they did against the Commanders in Week 18, Tampa Bay will do just fine. And there were a couple of games like that for Dallas this year. I guess being those two games. The other games that they lost were all. I can't say that actually. Philly beat them by 9 earlier in the season, but the rest were 1-score games. So, but if they play the way that they did against Washington, and Dak continues to struggle with interceptions, Tampa Bay will walk in there and or they will walk into their home stadium, I guess, and play really, really well. And even despite, do they have a losing record?
8-9.
8-9. The NFC just
that's a tough division. That was a tough division this year.
Sending people to the playoffs with losing records.
Tough. I mean, tough to watch.
Tough. Yeah, it was tough.
TUFF. The last thing I really have is to talk about the national championship last night. And we're done with the podcast. So that's all I got. That's a wrap.
Snappers who live their life upside down.
It's not even worth talking about.
Yikes, dude.
Like what? I don't know what I expected. I wanted to talk about the game, and I can't believe that I watched the whole thing. I cannot believe it.
I watched until there was about 2 minutes left, and I watched the. I think the best part of the game was not even the game itself. It was watching Pat McAfee's telecast of the game.
I wish I had watched that broadcast,
dude.
Yeah, I'm sure it was amazing.
There were several moments throughout the game where he just like completely remixes, goes off script. He missed a referee giving a penalty call at one point in the game. They had no idea what happened. He like calls out this guy with a nice mustache.
That was awesome.
AJ Hawk asked the guy if he was a firefighter. Amazing. Absolutely brilliant. It was tiptoeing the line of edgy and a little bit profane. But it was still very,
he toes that line very, very well.
I felt comfortable watching it with mom in the living room and not being like, okay, this is a little over the top.
Yeah.
Because there are some sports shows on YouTube, podcasts that are not as clean, but his is still not family friendly entertainment
for sure.
And I didn't feel bad like having that broadcast on with mom around, but hilarious, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I mean the last thing I got is about the expanded playoff here in a couple years. Everybody's talking about, Bama this, Bama that,
Stop it. I don't
whatever.
want to hear it. You see the way LSU beat Purdue? Give me a break.
Right. It's the expanded playoff's going to help with a lot of that nonsense, but I feel like it's just going to be, 12 teams got in, but the 13th team beat the number 8 ranked team by 2 touchdowns, 3 weeks ago. Why is the number 8 team in it when number 13, that's going to be the argument. It's just going to be the same thing with a worse team. So
credit Peter Burns for this tweet earlier today. The SEC played the Big 12 champion, the Big 12 runner-up, the Big 10 runner-up, and the ACC champion 4-0, outscoring them 204-48. He says incredible. when they go to a 12-team playoff, it's just a matter of time before it's 3 or 4 SEC teams in the Final Four. And somebody responded to the tweet and was like, the NCAA or the playoff committee will still find a way to make the SEC teams play in the second round and screw over the SEC, but maybe they will. But I mean, there will be a lot of home games being played in SEC stadiums here very, very soon in the college football playoffs.
That's going to be awesome.
Lit. Absolutely lit.
That will be sick.
Tiger Stadium
for a playoff game.
Friggin' going to Sanford Stadium to play Georgia Bulldogs for for the next round of the playoffs. Dude,
that's going to be sick.
Come on.
That's going to be sick.
It's going to be jumping. But congratulations to the Georgia Bulldogs. All of our Georgia fans that we grew up with that were so frustrated for so many years. It was so much fun to watch. Growing up as Tennessee fans, it was really fun to watch Georgia fans just get so frustrated every year. You've gotten your back-to-back championships, and now you probably won't see one for another 40 years. That's not true. They'll probably win another one next year because they looked better after they took Stetson Bennett out of the game.
Yep.
That is a wrap. That is a wrap on this week's episode. Do you have anything else, Reid?
I don't.
All right. Well, thank you all, as always, for joining us on this week's episode of After the Snap. You can always subscribe to us at The Finsider, at Buffalo Rumblings, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. Find us on YouTube at After the Snap. And as always, on social media at After the Snap Pod, Instagram, Twitter, wherever you want to consume After the Snap. We will be there for your enjoyment. See y'all next week. This has been After the Snap, tales from two brothers who live life upside down.
See ya.
You can take this boy out the real South on, but you can't take the real South out of my voice. And now here we go again, twist a little bit.